Hello, everybody. Welcome back to the Hendry and Craig Henry channels. Today is December 1st, 2025. I'm sitting here with Tyler. He's behind the camera right now. And the reason that we're recording in this car after dark with bad lighting is because tomorrow morning begins my jury trial in Greene County, Indiana, in Bloomfield, Indiana. And I want to give you guys the rundown on what's going to happen on the case. Because I might not be able to tell you after the trial. So, in this case, I showed up to a city council meeting in Linton, Indiana, and I spoke about the cops. I said that they kicked my door in July 2022. I said that they were armed thugs, that they kidnapped me and held me in a steel cage against my will for 45 days, and they said that I lied about it. To give you all the rundown, the cops did arrest me on that night in July that I was talking about. They did take me to a steel cage for 45 days. And I believe that the reasons they had for doing those things was not justified. That's why I called it kidnapping. As a matter of fact, I call every state-initiated arrest that did not involve a victim or a complainant besides the state of Indiana. I believe that most of the arrests that result from instances such as that are kidnapping. So they're going to say two things. They're going to say that they didn't kidnap me. They're going to say that they did not kick my door in. My neighbor at the time, I haven't told this to anybody outside of my very close group, but my neighbor at the time, who will be coming to testify on the 2nd, told me that he witnessed the cops kick my door in on July 26th, 2022, the night in question. He told me that it was still sunlight when it happened, and he told me that he saw them enter my trailer that I was living in at the time. And he is going to testify tomorrow. The police officer who kicked the door in is not a police officer anymore. He was charged with strangulation and domestic battery, I believe. He pled out to disorderly conduct as a part of a plea deal. And he is the guy, the police officer, that wrote the report that puts the police there after dark. So my neighbor saw the police there when there was sunlight out during the day. William Walker, the cop whose report puts them there at 10:15, has since left the department with some questionable happenings surrounding that. So basically, I'm going to go into the trial and try to explain to the jury that my neighbor saw them or witnessed them kick the door in, that my neighbor told me that, and that I also believe that, and that when I went to the city council meeting, I was not lying. I was, in fact, speaking what I believe to be the truth. And they're going to say, well, kidnapping is a crime. Were you accusing them of kidnapping? And I'm going to say, look, that's just hyperbole. That's like me calling a government agent a thief because they get paid through taxation. A police officer arrests people. I believe an unjust arrest would amount to a kidnapping, and therefore I believe that police do kidnap people when they arrest them for transacting with other adults for marijuana and stuff such as that, which is what I was being arrested for that night. So they're going to say that, yeah, they didn't kick the door in. I'm going to show them that my neighbor witnessed them kick the door in. Now, me and this neighbor, we don't know each other very well at all. I've talked to the guy maybe 5 or 6 times in my life, but he tells me he saw what happened. So, and he's my neighbor at the time, and also what I saw is also important. I got home that night. I don't remember exactly what time, but I got home late, and my door was open, but it was still locked, meaning the doorknob wouldn't turn any, but I could swing the door open because someone had forced the door open. Nothing in the trailer was gone. And so I assumed that the police kicked the door in and didn't take anything. Now, I went to bed that night, and I went to bed on the couch that was in view of the door. They came back later and said, open the door up, we're going to kick it in if you don't come and open it up. And I went and opened it up, and they arrested me and what I call kidnapped me. But that's what happened in this case, and they are trying to throw me in a cage for what is obviously a dispute on what happened a certain night. And I'm going to give you guys a little background just so that we're not left with the face value of what's going on. Me and Erica, my girlfriend, who also lived with me there, filed APRA requests, or access to public records requests. We asked for video footage of what happened that night, July 26th. Both requests were denied. I made a phone call to Paul Clark, November 30th, 2022, I believe, and asked Paul to come help me fix the door that had at that point fallen apart because of weather damage on top of the damage that had happened when they kicked the door. Caused it to fall apart. So I call Paul and I tell him, come help me fix this or pay for this to be fixed. And he said, we don't need to pay for it because we had a warrant. So I thought to myself, of course he's kicked the door. And then the neighbor tells me he's kicked the door. So, but on top of that, in depositions, I asked Paul Clark, and we've got a audio recording of this, so maybe Ty can include this. At depositions, Paul Clark said that he treats me different and that law enforcement treats me different, and that this is a unique and different case. When I asked him to zero in on the action that caused me to be treated different, he said two things. He said, look at your videos, Craig. And he also said, because you called me a fat ass as I'm walking away down the street.
Would you say that I get treated differently or uniquely by members of the police force or law enforcement in general around here?
I think that your actions facilitate that.
Okay. Can you elaborate on what actions that is?
Trying to provoke them into confrontation.
Mr. Clark, can you demonstrate or can you explain to me what actions you think I take that provoke police officers?
Watch your videos, Greg.
Could you zero in? Because what I think might inflame you might be completely different than what might inflame you.
Agreed.
So could you just tell me in particular what action is it, do you think, that precipitates that different treatment, that unique treatment?
Calling me a fat ass as I walk away down the street.
Okay.
That is what we're working with in this. But yeah, I have a feeling that they're going to really come close to being successful. If they are not successful, they will come very close to being successful. Simply because they'll roll a lot of unappealing tape of me, a lot of unappealing footage of me, and it will be completely irrelevant to any deceit or lies told. But if they can convince a jury that they don't like me, generally juries convict people that they don't like. So with that being said, I've been preparing for trial today. Me and Ty just got done talking with my witness. And so it's been a long day, and I've got to get back home, and I've got to say goodnight to the kids and say goodnight to the family and wake up super early to be at trial early in the morning tomorrow. So with that being said, if you'd consider donating to my cause, if I do go to jail, if you're seeing this, I'm likely in jail. My family will be without me for a period of time, so donations are extremely appreciated.
Hello, everybody. This is Craig Hendry coming to you from the Greene County Jail in Indiana. I'm calling you, obviously, because I was just convicted of false informing by a 6-person jury here in Greene County. My family and loved ones were there with me, and I don't want to go too far into defending myself against the charges here, as there will be stuff that comes out in the near future as Tyler and my family and my friends are able to get information out that we have acquired over the past few months with regards to this case. But I will say that they said that I lied, and I didn't lie. And the problem with that is that in order to know whether someone is lying, you have to know what they truly believe. And in America, the disconnect between what people think is right and what others think is right, or what some think is wrong and what others think is wrong, is so wide that it's very difficult to understand whether I was convicted because the jury was convinced beyond a reasonable doubt that I lied, or whether they were convinced beyond a reasonable doubt that they disagreed with me vehemently about all of my political views, and that they didn't like me, and therefore everything I said was ridiculous, so convict me based off of that. I believe that's what happened. The reason I do want to make this video, as I said, it's not to defend myself, but it's to impress upon everybody that I do this because I think it's right. And you understand I've been in jail for less than 24 hours at this point. So my brain is still a little bit, it's still adapting to the new environment. But I believe I did right. And the people that love me believe I did right. And the people that love me, by the way, also believe what I believe. As a matter of fact, Erica, why don't you try? Obviously, I didn't call Erica as a witness because the witness value of my girlfriend is less than the witness value of my neighbor who was called, who also believes that they kicked in the door. But, Erica, why don't you tell them what you know happened with regards to the door being kicked? Because that's what I'm being prosecuted for. I'm being prosecuted for saying that my door was kicked in by Linton police, and the Linton police say, oh, he lied about that. We never kicked his door. So not only are they prosecuting me for speech, but they're prosecuting me for speech critical of the government, and they're prosecuting me for speech critical of the government that I'm not the only one who has the opinion. And Erica is my girlfriend, and she loves me very much, and I love her. But Erica lived in that same trailer with me, and she knows what happened. And Erica, why don't you tell the people why you think police kicked in the door that night?
I know that I arrived home while you were not home at the time, and the door was just left wide open, and I thought maybe you had left the door, you may have accidentally forgot to close the door all the way, but whenever I asked you, you confirmed that the door was closed and locked up. And then so I went in to search the house, and I looked at the door, and it looked like the door had been broken into. And I searched the house to see if there was anything missing, but all of our valuable items were not touched. It didn't look like anything had been touched. And so later that evening, I received the call from you saying that you were going to jail. The cops were there to arrest you. And after that, I kind of thought, well, who would break into a house and not take anything necessarily? Who is less likely to break into a house and not take anything? So, and then I believe it was later that night or the next morning, the neighbor come over and brought me the cats that we had that escaped the house, and he was telling me that he had seen cops at our residence earlier that evening, or sometime during the day while it was still daylight out, and that he said he heard a loud bang, and so he looked out and saw cops at our residence when none of us were home.
And I'll chime in. Mike told me that he believed that police kicked in the door multiple times between then and now. Mike was the neighbor that testified. But unfortunately, all of this, Mike's testimony wasn't enough. And, I'm in jail. And so I want to just impress upon everybody, this is not a sob story. It is a sad story, I believe. But if there is anybody out there that is willing to help support me and my family through this rough time, the police, the government has said basically that if they disagree with you about their own actions, and you'll hear more as time goes on, guys. Again, my brain is everywhere. But ultimately, if the police disagree with you about their own actions, you can and will be prosecuted for it, and I'm sitting in jail. And I want to impress upon everybody as well. I was offered a plea deal in this case. I was offered a plea deal the last court date, and this is on the court's record, that I would get time served, so no time in jail, and 6 months probation if I would only say that what they're accusing me of is right. And that sickens me to even think about that. And of course it sickens me to be in jail. But I believe ultimately that the whole reason I'm in jail is because I made a decision. I made a decision to place my morals and my principles above. I made a decision to put my morals and principles perhaps above what was best for me. And Lord help me, I just do it because I think it's right. And with that being said, everybody, I hope that anybody who is in a position to help can help. Of course, I'm only asking for financial donations, not for an appellate lawyer. I will be doing a appeal without hiring an appellate attorney, but I'm asking for donations for my family. So my family is without me. Erica works with 2 kids, and it's going to be very difficult for them to be okay while I'm in here. And so I'm just asking, I'm pleading with everybody who loves liberty, everybody who loves the cause I stand for, please help me and my family in this time of need. And with that being said, thank you for watching. I'll see you in the next video.